Should old acquaintance be forgot? And does anybody know the words that part of the song? Happy New Year's Eve, guys! In a little more than 6 hours from now, we will be turning the page on what has been a tumultuous, exciting, disappointing, shocking, very eventful 2024 and turning the page onto 2025. What does the new year hold for us? Nobody knows. Some people are optimistic. Um, some people are pessimistic. Glass half full, glass half empty. I'm somewhere in the middle. I am I'm hoping for the best, but expecting the worst. That way you can't be disappointed, but you can also be ready. You have to be ready. You have to be quick on your feet and able to adapt. But for right now, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to take a little look past at what has happened, what the hell has happened, what the hell is happening right now, where the hell we're going, what stuff was really good, what stuff really sucked, and yeah, and we will look forward to 2025 together. No matter what happens, we're going to deal with this as a unit. So, are you ready? I am. Let's go. All right. Well, that's dumb. That's stupid. For whatever reason, my audio does not appear to be working, and that sucks. I don't know if you guys able to hear. Oh, that's what the hell happened. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, you guys. Were you able to hear the audio? Because I sure couldn't. Let's try that again. Hang on. Hang on. Are you ready? I am. Let's go. Story time. Welcome, 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 and happy New Year's Eve, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. Yeah, I don't know what happened. My headphones became unplugged, and therefore I couldn't hear, but you guys were able to. But it is what it is. Sandra Lee, Sandra Lee. You ain't right. Sandra says, "We don't hate you, but if you're a Trumper, we think you're uneducated." She's not wrong. She's not wrong because you have to be lacking in some critical thinking skills if you believe that Donald Trump, who has proven himself over and over, time and time again, to be a liar, to be incapable of producing anything if you believe he's the answer to whatever it is the question was. Um, but yeah, thank you, Luciel. It's looking good in blue. This shirt was a gift from wifey. So, by the way, you guys did not see story time this past Friday, and that's because this past weekend, wifey and I were enjoying ourselves on our anniversary weekend. We celebrated 7 years of happy, blissful marriage. So let's before we go any further, let's check in on the top here. Let's see. Oh, the Trump Reaper has beaten Zelda to the top of the message board. Trump Reaper, welcome. Zelda, there you go. Uh, excuse me. Diane London is with us here. We got Veronica Tello, RJ, Foxhill Dreams, Ness from Connecticut. Pam Ham is here. Apparently, I have somebody at my front door because that's the only time the Wolfie starts barking. Claudia is here. Krampus. KL. Sandra Lee. Ba-da-da-da-da. Valerie G. Lori B. Jimmy. Jimmy says Kia ora. Oh, and Happy New Year from, I never know how to pronounce that, Aotearoa, New Zealand. Welcome. My wife is from New Zealand also. You guys, many of you guys know that already. Mama AG is here. Cecile Kazemi is with us. Lucy L. Jenny Rayner. The gang's all here. Karen Noob. Stella Baxter. CF. Thank you guys. Thank you very kindly for the happy anniversary greetings. And teacher Laurie G. Welcome, you guys. Thank you for joining me. So, without further ado, let's do a quick recap of what I like to call these stories of the day.
Stories of the day.
Stories of the day. And let's see our title card for today. It says New Year's Eve 2024, the best and the worst. And that picture, ladies and gentlemen, was taken from the rooftop restaurant called Panorama. It was the restaurant was on the rooftop of the hotel we stayed at on Roosevelt Island. Roosevelt Island is like a little tiny island, like kind of in the middle of New York City, right? So New York City itself is an island, right? Or Manhattan is. But anyway, Roosevelt Island is a little tiny sliver of an island. It's like maybe 2 miles long. My cousins used to live there, and but anyway, we stayed there because it's got a beautiful, gorgeous view of the city skyline, which is wifey's favorite. So anyway, over this weekend we did lose President Jimmy Carter at the age of 100. And that's a big one. That is a big one. He actually lasted a lot longer than I thought he would, especially since his dear wife had passed so much earlier than him. And we're really sorry to see him go. He was a truly wonderful person and an example of how to live right. And we will take a look back at all of the different celebrities, or many of the celebrities that we lost in 2024. It's quite a few. And of course, we will be looking at some of the best moments and some of the not so best moments, the worst moments of 2024. Before I go any further, please remember to hit the like and the subscribe button. If this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button and make sure that anytime I'm creating new content that you get first dibs at it, and click the little bell so that you are notified as soon as a new episode drops. So last week was Christmas, and it's become a thing where every year I am dressing as Santa Claus. And it's, the kids are like 18 and 16 right now. Plus I have three adult sons, 31, 33, 31, and 27. So really I'm just dressing as Santa Claus for myself. But it's fun. It's fun. Um, if you don't learn anything else in your adult life, learn this: make yourself happy. Don't give a damn about what anybody else thinks or what anyone else says. If it makes you happy, go for it. It does for some reason. Uh, yeah. So this hotel is called the Graduate, and it's college themed because apparently there are graduate uh, hotels all around the country, but the thing is that they are positioned right next to colleges. So this one was positioned right next to Cornell University, and it's a really cool theme. You can't get a more amazing view of the city skyline than I think than you can here. Maybe in West New York. West New York is also has a nice view, but this is pretty awesome. Um, and that's a view of the hotel from the front. If you go to this place, I'm going to tell you, try to request a suite. The suites are like on the side of the building, and they have the best views. You can actually have there three views, three different sides of the building. So check it out. Um, So this image here on the screen is a picture of Elon and one of his tweets where he talks about the woke mind virus is either defeated or nothing else matters. Elon Musk has gotten it into his stupid head that wokeism is a problem. I don't see why. I mean, you're a billionaire, right? You're not stupid. Or if you are stupid, then that's even more tragic. But I don't think he is. I think he knows what woke means. And woke, we all know, means that you are aware of uh, of other people in other walks of life, and you are sensitive to um, to issues involving people that are of um, vulnerable communities. That's all. But he's calling it a woke mind virus, and he's not the only one. There are people on the right who have weaponized the word woke as meaning, um, as meaning hyper concerned about um, it's what do they think it is? Hyper concerned about pronouns and men playing women's sports. That's pretty much what they've distilled wokeism into, and they're wrong. So I made it my business to write a piece called "Why They Hate Woke," and this is my latest article on Substack, and I'm quite proud of it. It's not a short one, so this is one of those things you get yourself a nice cup of hot cocoa or a coffee or a tea, whatever your beverage of choice is, and you sit there and enjoy. Yeah, it's a good read, if I do say so myself. on Substack. If you are not already subscribing, make sure you do. I am looking forward to 2025 as a year where I am knocking it out of the park on a regular basis. So don't miss. Don't miss. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started right here. This picture for the best and the worst, you have President Biden on the left there. He's smiling, he's triumphant. And then there's President Biden on the right, who's not smiling. He's not triumphant. He's downtrodden. You probably recognize that is as one of the worst moments of 2024. Simon, better late than never. I'm glad you made it, my friend. Welcome. Welcome, buddy. So yeah, let's talk about the loss of President Jimmy Carter. He's one of the first, he is the first president I remember being aware of as a kid. Like when he won the election, I think I was probably 8 years old, and it was the first time I noticed that I even cared about politics. I remember seeing caricatures of his face in the New York Daily News, and he was always pictured like the teeth were oversized, and they pictured him in overalls because he was a peanut farmer, and they made a lot of hoo-ha about that. And what I didn't realize was what a great man he was. You know, he was involved in Georgia politics, but he was also in the Navy, and he was on like the first nuclear submarine ever, and he actually helped avert a nuclear disaster. In addition to that, obviously, he's also the first president to ever live to the age of 100. That's a big deal. And he lived long enough to be able to cast his vote for Kamala Harris, and it still sticks in my craw. It will take me a long time to get over the fact that some people let us down. Some people let us down on this, and you also let President Carter down as well. He did his part. He hung on to fucking 100 years old. So for those of you who sat your asses at home and didn't vote because you didn't think your vote mattered. For those of you who wanted to teach, I don't know, were you teaching President Biden a lesson or Kamala Harris, the Democrats? You're teaching everyone a lesson by letting a convicted felon, adjudicated rapist back into the White House? Oh, we'll survive. Yeah, okay. Okay. You'll survive. You'll survive whatever your privileged life is. Makes me sick. Anyway, President Carter also um, he was given the Nobel Peace Prize, and he stayed with his wife. He had his one and only true love, his wife Rosalind, who passed away. I think it was like 2 years. I think it was 2 years um, before he passed. I think she passed, and that's why I was shocked because people who have been together as long as they were, like over 80 years or over 70 years, definitely. I don't know how long, how many years they were together, but it's typical when you have a couple who's been together for 5 or 6 decades, you know, when one passes, the other one is like just right behind. Right behind. Was it 2023? RJ says it was 2023. It seemed like it was longer. Oh shit. Tracy M, aka Nurse Mitch, says it was 77 years. Good Lord. 77 years. It's a very long time. Um, so yeah, and I think, you know, I don't want to use their wedding to smash, you know, other presidential marriages, you know, who seem, you know, less warm, less affectionate of each other. But, you know, it was that one marriage, you know, it wasn't, he didn't get married to three different people. He didn't cheat on Rosalind. If he did, we didn't know about it. and he built homes for the less fortunate under Habitat for Humanity. This man was like 91 years old and fell and, you know, and had a black eye and broke something, but the next day he was up, or as soon as he was able, he got back up and went back to building. Like, he's in his 90s. He didn't need I'm sure, they would have gotten along just fine without him swinging a hammer and risking, his hip or his bones or whatever. But this is something he wanted to do. He also continued to teach Sunday school. He did that for like well into his 90s. This was an incredible man. He was a guy who just believed in service. He didn't like pomp and circumstance, so like he told them to stop playing Hail to the Chief when he walked into a room. He didn't want that anymore. Um, yeah, so he was a great man, and he catches a bad rap because at the time that he left office, America, the situation with inflation was bad, and what else? There was a hostage crisis, and which ironically ended the like shortly after he left office because Iran decided to go along with Reagan and agreed to release the hostages once Reagan was in office. It's awful. Um, okay, so let's also take a look at some of the other celebrities, famous people on the screen here. Let's see if I put this. There we go. Okay, so from left to right, the top row, we have Richard Lewis, Shelley Duvall, Bob Newhart, um, Donald Sutherland, Terry Garr. There's James Earl Jones just behind the BDD logo. The lower row, there is Carl Weathers, Chris Christopherson, Maggie Smith. I'm not sure if she's Dame Maggie Smith. That's Maggie Smith. Uh, Shannon Doherty and Gina Rowlands. Gina Rowlands. I only know her from that she was in a movie in the 80s called Gloria. Gloria, I think you got your number. And we have some people pointing out, Jimmy is pointing out Quincy Jones passed away. Also, Dr. Ruth Westheimer. Dr. Ruth? She was a little tiny lady, little German accent. Who else did we lose? Willie Mays. Incredible baseball player, Willie Mays. Liam Payne. Also, he was a musician. I think he was a. Oh man, don't kill me. I think he was in One Direction. I could be wrong. The young kids. The young kids liked him. Yes, she is Dame. Okay. The Notebook. Oh, Linda Lavin. Thank you. Linda Lavin died. I think it was Sunday, actually, Sunday or Saturday. We also lost Richard Simmons, Chita Rivera. Let's see who else. Oh, Lance Reddick. Was it this year he died? Lance Reddick was a great actor. Ricky Henderson. Look at that. Oh, he was in One Direction. Okay, thank you, Trump Reaper. Liam Payne was in One Direction. So yeah, there's quite a few celebrities who passed away this year. So let's see, what do we have next? Yeah. So anyone who knows me knows that, or has been following this show, knows that I love movies and TV shows. And so what I want to talk about is, in no particular order, mind you, I have made lists of my top 5 movies and TV shows. And it's tough because I watch a lot. I watch a lot of movies and TV shows, and there are many different genres I enjoy, and it's hard to grade them. But these are the ones that, without looking on the internet, the ones that jumped out of my head, I was like, oh yeah, this was good. So Dune Part Two, I thought was astounding. As far as sequels go, as far as sci-fi goes, um, this guy who talk about knocking something out of the park. Dennis Villeneuve. Oh man, I'm sure I'm butchering the pronunciation of his name. Apologies, but Dennis Villeneuve did a masterful job in translating the Frank Herbert book into the movie, and I can't wait to see what more this guy has. Oh my goodness, Zelda, my friend. Wait a minute. How did I miss you? Where? Hang on. uh, hmm, this is strange. I'm not seeing. I see that Zelda did something here. Excuse me. Excuse me. There it is. Where was I when this happened? Zelda, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the kind donation to the show. I really greatly appreciate you. Thank you so much. And it's Aotearoa. That's how far ago, long ago you left that. Dune was spectacular cinematography. It was excellent acting by Timothy Chalamet. I think Zendaya probably stole the show. The dude from No Country uh, to Old Men, the guy on the far left, I can't remember his name. He was such a brilliant job in this thing. Josh Brolin, also great job, excellent all around. I love this movie. Um, okay, so for those of you who like horror, I give you The Substance. Javier Bardem, thank you, Eddie G. Javier Bardem was the guy on the far left there. Excellent, excellent. The Substance is I would definitely call this a horror movie, and it's weird. It's starring Demi Moore, and she plays an actress who has seen better days. She's kind of hit. I think maybe she's 50 in the movie, and in Hollywood, I guess once you hit 50, uh, they have less use for you, which I don't know if that's necessarily true. I see plenty of actresses who play, older roles, but I would say there definitely is a lot more pressure on women in Hollywood to keep up their physical appearance, right? It's very demanding. So you'll see women in Hollywood, actresses getting plastic surgery, a lot of them to try to keep up with the younger actresses, because I guess there are fewer and fewer roles available to you once you begin to age. You don't see too many men concerned about that, although there are some men who do get plastic surgery, and anytime I see it, I'm like, dude, like what's that guy, Mickey Rourke? Very unfortunate. Sylvester Stallone, who, by the way, I am enjoying him in Tulsa King, which did not make my TV list. But anyway, The Substance is is a horror show that Demi Moore, um, she's kind of desperate to do something about her appearance. So she takes this chemical, and I don't want to spoil it for you, but this chemical causes her to undergo a transformation, and it's a literal transformation that is horrifying. It's horrifying. I watched this whole thing, and Tracy Nursemith, I know that Stallone is a trumper. I don't care. I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch his stuff, no matter what. I am. um, Same with Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis is a trumper too. I'm gonna still rewatch Die Hard every year, at least once. Um, but the transformation that Demi Moore undergoes is horrific, and her acting is stellar. This is probably the best acting I've ever seen Demi Moore do. Um, it's an unnerving, disturbing movie, really. And at one point, it's so disturbing, it's almost funny. That's all I will say. It's all I will say about this. But absolutely, if you like horror, check this out. The Substance. Um, Wicked. I what more can I say about Wicked? Brooklyn Dad is a humongous uh, musical fan. I'm a big fan of musicals. I'm that guy. If I'm watching a movie and I already know the soundtrack, I will sing along with the soundtrack. That's me. I am that guy. Sorry to tell you. Um, it's a fun movie. The two leads, uh, Ariana and God damn, I don't know, I don't know the other actress's name, but they did a fantastic job of telling the story behind the story of the Wizard of Oz, where you find out that Galinda the Good Witch was not really such a good witch, and Elphaba, the the so-called wicked witch, wasn't really all that wicked. Cynthia Erivo, I love you guys. Thank you, Veronica Tello. Um, you guys are awesome that you bail me out when I can't think of the name. You're terrific. Thank you for helping. Cynthia Erivo, her voice is just out of this world phenomenal. It's just incredible. And the choreography was magnificent, the scenery, um, everything. And Jeff Goldblum was in this. Uh, who's the guy? Bowen Yang from Saturday Night Live was hilarious in this. And the only thing I was disappointed about was that this is part one. So we have to wait like a whole another year for the second part, but I'm looking forward to seeing part two. Fantastic, fantastic show. Rebel Ridge. This is a brother who's kind of like brand new on the scene. And here's the story. He is on his way to deliver um, bail money for his cousin, but he ends up in some old back town, down south where, it's the vibe is totally like, you a bit far from home, ain't you, boy? Hmm? What you doing around these here parts? Where'd you get all that money from? We're gonna confiscate that money. And that's what they did. They confiscated his money, and he was like, fuck that shit. And he fought the system. And when I say fought, like he fought in both respects, both literal and figuratively fought. um he kicked some ass. He was in the military, and his job was like training people in hand-to-hand combat, and he's a badass brother. I highly enjoyed this movie. Last but not least, Furiosa. This was the prequel to the Mad Max movie starring uh, Charlize Theron. Charlize Theron was Furiosa, and so the new movie Furiosa: A Mad Max Saga shows how she came to be with these really horrible people in the wasteland in like Australia or whatever. This was a really underrated movie. It came out. It was done by George Miller, the same guy who's been directing all of these Mad Max. He created this kind of Mad Max universe, and it's very visceral. It's very colorful. Uh, it's fascinating as hell. I watched it once in the movies and twice at home. I will probably watch it again this week at some point. excellent for rewatching. And the woman who plays uh Furiosa is Anna Taylor. She's been in a whole lot of stuff. She's very talented. And Chris Hemsworth, Thor, almost unrecognizable with a massive schnoz on his face, but as soon as you see him, you're like, oh shit, that's Thor. Um, Great movie. Let's get into the best TV shows of the year, starting with Baby Reindeer. Baby Reindeer, I talked about on this show. Also, kind of unnerving. It's based on a true story about a guy who walks into a coffee shop and the woman who serves him. Oh wait, excuse me. A guy who's working at a coffee shop and a woman walks in and she's got a weird story. She's like, she wants tea, but she can't afford to buy it. But apparently, she's like flexing like she works for all these important people. And this basically turns into a story of fatal attraction. Um, and the guy who was in this true story actually acts it out. He's the guy with the reindeer horns there. So it's really fascinating. It was on Netflix. I'm not sure if it's still there. Um, but yeah, I recommend this one. Not a coffee shop, a pub. Thank you. Thank you, Krampus. Good one. Um, Shrinking. I can't say enough good things about it. It was created by the folks who created Ted Lasso. And Ted Lasso, if you remember, was basically like a great big warm bear hug of a TV show with excellent characters who it was like feel good. Um, this misfit soccer team that was struggling to be better, and this Shrinking is about three or four therapists. And when I first heard the premise, I was like, I don't think so. But actually, excellent TV show. When I say excellent, this is the kind that, you know, you might need some tissues as you're watching. Definitely in the second season, which I just finished watching. Awesome, awesome show. Um, and Harrison Ford is funny as hell. All of the cast members are actually very funny. So it's primarily a comedy. It's a comedy, but it occasionally will make you feel like you need to weep. It's a good show, trust me. The Penguin is kick ass. The Penguin, um, so this was created by like in the same universe as the Robert Pattinson Batman movie, right? The Penguin is almost this guy is completely unrecognizable, but it's Colin Farrell. If you tell me you look at this picture on the screen and say you recognize that as being Colin Farrell, I'm saying bullshit because there's no way. Colin Farrell completely, lets himself be absorbed into this role, and uh, he basically they play the Penguin not like the old Adam West Batman, with the top hat and the long cigar, and he's got the monocle, and this Penguin they play kind of as a mobster. And what if the Penguin was they were called him the Penguin because when he was a kid he was disfigured, and so he has a perpetual limp that makes him kind of waddle a bit. But he's kind of Penguin is kind of badass in this. He's a scumbag. He's not a likable character. So it's interesting that you find yourself rooting for him because there are other scumbags in the show. It's a weekly show. It's on Max. In fact, it finished. So if you wanted to binge this whole thing, you could. It's like 8 or 9 episodes. And how do I find so much time to watch so many good shows? I don't watch them all at once. Obviously, this is over the course of a year. Um, but anyway, the Penguin was easily like top three of all shows that I watched this year. Period. Easily, it's fantastic. Um, Abbott Elementary is is like if you have a sweet tooth, if you're the kind of person who prefers sweet rather than sour or rather than salty, Abbott Elementary is my sweet tooth spot. It's a comedy. It's a feel good comedy. It's on Hulu, I think, but also on ABC. Um, and what more? What can I say? I think they're in season 2 or season 3. It takes place in an elementary school in Pennsylvania, I think in Philadelphia, and it's really, really, really funny. Great cast, um, and many of the characters have interesting character arcs too. And last but not least, Lioness. Lioness is starring Zoe Saldana. Like, this is an amazing. You would think this was a movie for the caliber of actors in this show. This is a TV show, but it's starring Zoe Saldana, Nicole Kidman, Morgan Freeman, and like a bunch of other actors. You're like, and Linus was basically, it's like a program. It's like a CIA um, program where they go after terrorists and stuff like they embed a person, a woman, a fierce lioness woman with a terrorist group, and they use that woman to get close to the target, and she either takes them out or directs her team to take them out. And wow, this this show is incredible. It's incredible. I'm waiting for the next season to come out. Um, I have little nitpicky things that I'm not even going to go into about it. It's a fantastic show. Love it. Love it. Love it. This is not Netflix. I think it's damn it. It's either Peacock or Paramount. Can't remember. I think it's Paramount. I think it's CBS. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. Great ensemble cast. Yes. Highly recommend. So let's get into some of the top. These are the top 5 non-Trump shocking moments of the year. Diddy was arrested. Was arrested for, among other things, sex trafficking and kidnapping, I guess, unlawful imprisonment, a whole lot of shit. They found like 1,000 bottles of baby oil in his possession. I think the baby oil was used. Excuse me. The bottles of baby oil, I think, were full of some kind of drug that they used to knock people out and take advantage of them sexually. It's a disgusting story. Um, they say give everybody their day in court and don't judge them um before they're on trial, but it doesn't look good. I will say it does not look good for him, and I'm not seeing anybody step up and say this is crazy, there's no way. Nobody. And usually if something if they're going after somebody as big as Diddy, and all both barrels blasting, you know, doesn't look good. Does not look good for him. And my friend Diane, yeah, I would tend to agree. If he's guilty, throw the keys away. Life in prison. She's judging. uh oh, here's another one here. Mama says Diddy isn't really shocking. Someone just finally spilled the tea. Let me go back to this for a second, because this year, I'm sure some of you heard Cat Williams on that show. What's it? Shay Shay's the Shay Shay. It's that show where people go on and they basically spill the tea. And Cat Williams was spilling the tea on a whole lot of different celebrities. I don't know if he said if he spilled the tea on Diddy also, but I wouldn't be surprised. So another shocking moment was Bashar al-Assad was finally toppled in Syria, and he had to skedaddle. Now he's in Russia. He's being watched over by Vladimir Putin. Club Shay Shay, thank you. Shannon Sharp, thank you. And what will become of him? I don't know. What will become of Syria is what I'm curious to find out. You know, when things like this happen, the concern is that the the lack of power that results creates a power vacuum, and now different sections of people will be jousting for um, for dominance, and you hope that the next person who comes to power is not worse than the person who just left. So I unfortunately don't know enough about Syrian politics to be able to speak intelligently about it. So that's I'm going to leave it there. Um, we had two, not one, but two major hurricanes slam into Florida back to back. First was Hurricane Helene, which ended up not just, it didn't poop out until it got all the way up to, it went through North Kakalaki, and then it went through Tennessee, and it wreaked some serious havoc. There were mudslides, deadly mudslides, and a lot. This caused this. The first one caused a bunch of damage, and it also the damage was not just caused by the hurricane, but it was caused in the aftermath of the hurricane when Trump and his followers decided to disseminate a bunch of disinformation about FEMA, saying that FEMA wasn't going to help, saying that FEMA wasn't going to help Republicans and it wasn't going to help uh, um, Trump supporters. It was crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy, and it was irresponsible and despicable to uh, to 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 start those rumors and spread them. And then Milton came through, and Milton, I think it was the first time a Category 5 had hit Florida in decades. So it was a pretty big deal. And again, it's more proof that climate change is a problem, you know, and people will say, oh, there's always been hurricanes. Yeah, but not with this amount of intensity and frequency. That's the issue right there. And, you know, you can doubt it if you want to. You know, there are um, so many scientists who will disagree with you. And Trump Reaper, you are correct. I do love my coffee. um, you guys heard of this Hawk Tua girl? I'm sorry that that I even have to mention her. There was this dude who was doing interviews of people passing by, people on the street, and he asked, you know, what's that what's the bedroom move that drives the men crazy? And she made herself internet famous when she said, wait, I think I have the clip. Hang on. Okay. Do, 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 do. Share screen.
Oh, you gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that thing. You get me? Oh, you gotta give him that hawk too and spit on that thing. You get
Man, all I can say is, if that were my daughter, I would be mortified, absolutely mortified. But she had her 15 minutes of fame, and she rode that. She started herself a podcast, and then she created a crypto coin. I think they call those meme coins, right? And then it apparently she scammed. So she did some kind of scam with it. I don't ask me to explain how it works because I don't understand that shit, that crypto stuff. Um, but yeah, yeah, not a proud moment for her parents, I'm sure. And last but not least, we have Luigi Mangione, which is a very, I guess it's an interesting and shocking story. It's shocking because you know the story already. He killed a CEO of United Healthcare in broad daylight, and that in itself, is noteworthy. He did it in New York City, where there's no shortage of people. There's people everywhere in New York City, and there's cameras, and it looked like he kind of had a plan. He had a silencer on his gun, but he came up from behind the dude and shot him like 3 times, and then he hopped on a bicycle and fled. And then he took that to a bus, and then he wound up in Pennsylvania. And when he was in Pennsylvania, that's where he was apprehended. And I guess the shocking thing, A, is that the target he had was a CEO, right? And those guys usually travel with bodyguards, with security, and he was apparently not with his security at the time. But the shocking thing to me, I think, was how this guy Luigi Mangione. I guess he's attractive. He's a handsome guy, but he became a celebrity. Like, half of the people were like lusting after him, right? Just because physically he's a specimen. But the other half, I think, they approved of the message being sent, the message being sent to the insurance industry, because we all know insurance, health insurance, auto insurance, they're ripping us off. We know it, but we can't afford not to have insurance. So they know they kind of have us over a barrel. And by having us over a barrel, I mean that they take advantage of situations. And United Healthcare, for instance, they have the highest rate of denials of coverage than anyone. They've like 32% denials, which is crazy. That means 32% of the people who have been paying their premiums regularly, they get denied when they need that shit the most. That's fucked up. This um this murder kind of resonated with everyone, with a lot of people, and I was one of I wrote a piece, when is it okay to cheer for a murderer, you know? And look, cuz I understand that people are rightfully angry with the insurance system. But now, are we cheering, when somebody decides to take the law into their own hands and render extrajudicial verdict and kill somebody? You taking them away from their wife and their kids and their families, and then I get that the response to that is, well, what about him? He's taking, you know, people away from their loved ones when he denies the service. I get it. But one is legal and one is not legal, right? And if we just start making rules like, it's okay to kill someone if we disagree with the way they do business, then that's mayhem. We can't have it. We can't have it. And I've said that on this show before. And I stand by it. It might not be popular with progressives or people on our side, but it is what it is. You know, um, replace replace Luigi Mangione with Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse did what he thought was right. He took his gun and went across state lines and he killed two people. People they said he said they people said he shot them in self-defense. But what are you doing? What were you even doing there? Self-defense. You weren't even home. You were far away from home, sticking your nose in business where it didn't belong. And you came armed. So you were looking to shoot somebody. He was exonerated. The right wing turned him into a hero. They cheered him. They still do. Is that right? You know. Anyway, let's talk about the top 5 shocking Trump moments. Number 1 was Trump on national TV talking about they're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the pets of people who live there. It's just, this was shocking to me because, like, where did it even come from? It just like he pulled that shit out of his back pocket, like he was waiting to say that. Like, didn't nobody ask you about pets and cats and dogs being eaten? And it was an obvious, lie. It was a obvious and blatant lie that he told the whole fucking nation. And it just seemed like he was crazy town. I still don't see how he got past that. It's crazy. It was crazy. And people are so anxious to sane wash this motherfucker, Well, he kind of, no, he didn't have a point. Those people in Springfield, Ohio were there legally. And they weren't eating anyone's pets. And one by one, all of the different things were debunked. But by the time they were debunked, this lie had gone around the planet several times and established itself as a truth or as being truthy or whatever. It was shocking to me. Next up was Donald Trump filleted a microphone. Filleted a microphone. I mean, if you have any, I understand making a joke, right? If you're amongst family and friends, you're in a small group setting, you're at a dinner or something, you're telling an anecdote, and you're telling your friends and family that this microphone wasn't working, and then you start miming that action. That makes sense. But if you're doing this in front of millions of people, it's insane. You're running for the job of president. That is shocking. The only thing more shocking than this is that they didn't give a shit about this. And let's talk about this. This is the third one here. Let's talk about this assassination attempt. Thank you, Ms. Rain, Seattle. I saw your comment and it was queued up perfectly with what I had lined up next. Now, when this happened, it was I think it was a Saturday afternoon, and I had been on Saturday and Sunday. I tend to unplug. I think it's very healthy to just step away from the social media and they say touch grass, but have quiet time or you just family time. And that's when I watch a lot of the TV and shows, Saturday and Sunday afternoon, go out, etc. So I was completely unplugged and didn't know that this was happening until hours after it happened. Then when I turned on the TV, I was like, what the fuck? It's like, first of all, they're replaying the tape over and over and over. And I hear him say, all right, wait, my shoe. It's like, what? Your shoe? The fuck? And it was crazy that you could hear the audio of him saying my shoe. And um then he stood up, and my mind was blown when all of his security detail allowed him to show his face. We didn't even know if there was a second sniper in the crowd, and they allowed him to show his face and fist pump. And that seemed to me like a definite, like, photo opportunity, like a planned. It seemed planned to me. Wait, my shoe. Okay, ready? Ready? All right, let's go. Just weird. So many things were wrong with this. Like, the first question actually that came to my mind was like, wait, the shooter was on the roof? What? I mean, we're talking like years after the Kennedy assassination. The shooter's on the roof? That's Secret Service 101. You don't leave an unsecured roof unless you want your protectee to be shot. The other crazy thing about this was that he wore a gauze, an oversized gauze, for like, I don't know, 2 weeks or something. And then he took the gauze off, and the ear was healed perfectly. It's perfectly healed ear that no reporter was even the slightest bit curious about. Nobody wanted to see uh, uh, a medical report. Nobody wanted to ask him, hey, where's the scar? It's perfectly healed. You're a 78-year-old man, and you got hit by a bullet that should have taken half of your ear off. It should have. There were people who told, who know about firearms and know about AR-15s, and they said, if you get grazed by an AR-15 bullet, that shit should have taken half of his ear off. Nobody cared. That was just baffling to me, more than the assassination attempt. And when I say assassination attempt, mind you, I am putting air quotes around that bullshit. Fucking crazy. Then Miss Rain Seattle says, but then got RNZ attendees to wear Kotex on their ears in public. Yeah, that was crazy. That was absolutely mind blowing. What the actual faheezy? All right. And then, of course, then he was found guilty of uh of a felony, 34 counts of felony. And I remember, never forget, they read them one at a time. Count one, guilty. Count two, guilty. Count three, guilty. And it's the first time in history a former president was indicted, was mugshotted, was convicted. First time ever. And then the most shocking Trump moment of all was that despite all that, and I'm not even including the civil uh, settlement against him that E. Jean Carroll won. She won $5 million settlement, and then an additional 83 million because he persisted in maligning her good name. It persisted in defaming her. Despite all that, despite the adjudicated rapist, despite the convicted felon, he fucking won. That was just stunning. Stunning. and I wasn't shattered by it. I was disappointed, but I remember 2016. In 2016, I was shattered. I was just like jaw dropped. I was just like, wow, 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 wow. This time I was like, wow, but I'm already thinking, okay, um, how are we gonna fight this motherfucker? That's it. That's it. We've been here before. We can do it again. And we fought him well, actually. Every damn thing he tried to do, we were there. Excuse me, resisting. And that's what we have to do this time. The only other thing that was that was as shocking as him winning was how much leeway he is given to Elon Musk. How much control, how much perceived control. Because everybody has been calling Elon Musk President Musk for the past 4 weeks. President Musk. And it's like a running joke. And not only like Donald Trump made a half-hearted uh, attempt at refuting this. I don't know if you guys saw this. The other day he was on he was giving a speech somewhere, and he's like, but you know what? They're saying that he's going to be the president, but haha, I'm safe. You know why? He can't be president because he wasn't born here. Like, what's the most? That was a very surrealistic comment from him, because it didn't even sound like he believed it himself. But it also sounded like he was trying to convince himself that he's still the president. But look at me. I'm the president now. Yeah. Yeah, Elon is clearly the president until further notice. Let's talk about the surprising the top 5 athletic achievements, and this was an honorable mention. LeBron and Bronny, father and son, played together on the Lakers. As a Giants fan, this one really hurts me to my core because Saquon Barkley was the running back for the Giants, and the Giants just had a horrendous offensive line, and we couldn't find any room for him to run. So we traded him away to our divisional rival, the Philadelphia Eagles, and then he just went apeshit running all over the place. Saquon Barkley just finished. He just became the ninth player, ninth running back in history to accumulate 2,000 yards rushing in one season. That's insane. I'm very happy for him. I'm very pissed off with my Giants. That's that. The Kansas City Chiefs, they won back-to-back Super Bowls. Back to back. And the way they're playing now, there's no reason to believe they can't make it back to back to back. That's what I think. The United States in this year's Olympics, we took gold in both the men's and women's basketball. Majorly good achievement for America, for those athletes, for us all. Moment of pride. Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark broke a major record. She broke the all-time scoring record of Pete Maravich. It was a dude. She broke the NCAA scoring record. His point total was 3,667 points. That's amazing. And last but not least, Simone Biles won 4 medals at the Paris Olympics. So just continuing her record of excellence. I think, when people up until now, people have been saying that so and so is the Michael Jordan of this or the Michael Jordan of that. I think they need to change it to the Simone Biles of so and so because she is dominant in this sport. Like the only other dominance I can remember like this was like Venus and Serena Williams being that dominant. Let's talk about the uh, the worst the worst people in the Republican Party. Top 5 worst Republicans. And at the bottom here we've got Tommy Tuberville. Tommy Tuberville is dumb as a shoe, dumb as an old shoe with a hole in it. I really despise what he did, creating a blockade for military appointments. He held that up for as long as he possibly could. And then ultimately, he ended up relenting. Just like you're just a titanic waste of everyone's time. Um, yeah, this is like the dumbest guy in the Senate. And then Matt Gaetz is not dumb, but he is sleazy. He's very sleazy and gross. And the report just came out, the House ethics report that he tried to prevent from coming out by resigning. He resigned his House seat in hopes that they would not release that report. Think about that. If you are a member of Congress here in the House of Representatives, they have, first of all, they have an excellent salary. The base salary is $174,000 a year. And they have medical coverage, which is like phenomenal. And then they have access to everything. And he was willing to give that up because of that report. So that automatically lends a great deal of credence to it. If it's bullshit, then you just call it bullshit and you don't go anywhere. But yeah, so the report basically says that he was paying underage women, girls. He was paying girls for sex. So he was paying girls for the right to rape them. And that's disgusting. And I had to word it like that because, sex with a minor is rape. It's that simple. Nancy Mace is disgusting in that she has made it her mission to send a message to trans people in her state, trans people in the country, that um, she doesn't care about them, that she thinks that they have a mental condition. Um, and she's weird and stupid. She's very like she likes doing these things as stunts, right? Everything is a stunt with her. So first of all, a trans woman just won election um, to the House, and Nancy Mace declared that she is not comfortable with that trans woman using the same bathroom as her. She wanted her to be banned from using the women's bathroom. And then she posted another 300 times about it. Earlier in the year, or it might have been last year, she wore a shirt with a red letter A on it, like the Scarlet Letter. And I don't remember why she thought it was cool, but the Scarlet Letter A, it's for adultery. So it's almost like you trying to tell us something. And just yesterday, she quote tweeted a tweet that said that the U.S. appeals court upheld the Trump verdict on E. Jean Carroll's defamation case. And she thought that was a good thing. She thought that meant that that was a win for Trump. So she quote tweeted and says, "I hope George Stephanopoulos sees this, which is what's wrong with this woman? What's wrong with her? It's not a win. It's not a win for Trump. Last but not least, the top two most horrible people. Trump is number two, so he's not even the most horrible. But Elon Musk is actually at the top of my most horrible Republicans list. He wasn't even, considering himself a Republican at one point. He used to say that, oh, I'm not taking any position, but actually he was taking a position the whole time. And Elon is horrible because he has all this money and all this power, and he chooses to use his power and influence in very petty, very evil ways. He could take a fraction of the billions that he has right now and solve world hunger. He could. He could do that. He could solve homelessness. Oh, but then, excuse me, he doesn't even believe homelessness is real. He says homelessness is a lie. Um, yeah, he's just an awful, awful person. So yeah, he's at the top of the horrible Republicans list. And let's talk about our best Democrats list. I love this picture of President Obama awarding President Biden. Back then he was Vice President Biden, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. You could see President Biden, if you watch the video, he couldn't even hold it together. He was weeping in that. You can't blame him. Incredible moment. Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem Jeffries should have been our Speaker of the House. Before 2 years is up, for all we know, he very well might be. Very well might be, because the House right now has a very slim Republican margin. And Trump is most likely going to be plucking some people um, for various positions in his cabinet or in his administration, which means like their very slim margin will be susceptible to possibly um, being abdicating control of the House to Democrats, and that would be Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, who's sharp as a tack, who's very eloquent, and I really would love to see him as the next Speaker of the House. And Rep. Jasmine Crockett just kind of seemed to have come out of nowhere and just has enthralled the country with her brilliance. She is brilliant. She is engaging. She is real. She's funny. She she really made us a big splash on the scene when she called Marjorie Taylor Greene. What was it? Bad beach built body, bad bleach bond body built, something like that. It was hilarious alliteration. And she made t-shirts and used the proceeds from the t-shirts to help fund fellow Democrats' House races, which was awesome. An awesome way to use her wattage to help her colleagues. So I am really glad that she is in our party, and I'm looking forward to more and more years of her. And we'll see where she goes. President Biden, of course, is on this list of top Democrats because I think when it's all said and done, he's going to be recognized as one of our most consequential presidents of all time. He achieved so much in such a short period of time. He really doesn't get the kind of credit he deserves for not only just the bills that he's gotten passed and signed into law, just the kind of person he is. He still believes in America despite the fact that he kind of did get a raw deal. um, could he have bowed out earlier? Maybe. but at the time, he didn't know that he had lost a step. And it's, by the time he figured that out, it was too late. It was too late. Um, that debate that he had against Trump, it was brutal. And by the time that happened, it was June 27th, and there was exactly enough time to do nothing. Nothing. And so, as much as he believed that he could make it all the way to the finish line and finish that race and beat Trump, he voluntarily stepped aside and you know and paved the way, passed the torch to Kamala Harris. It was an incredibly unselfish thing that he did. And questioned by Mende Nitrous, why didn't he make Kamala the president? He could have, but there would have, the only reason he would have done that was, like, would have been a stunt, to so that Trump's merch would no longer be valid at 47 or whatever. He had already printed all this merch that said he's the 47th president. That would have made Kamala the 47th president. He didn't want any shenanigans in this turnover, um, this peaceful transfer of power, and this was very important to him. I think with Trump's presidency, we had gotten away from the whole normalcy of the institution, and he reveres and respects the institution above and beyond anything else, above and beyond his own legacy. So I think he did that. He was very mindful when he made decisions, um, about his presidency. And then there was Kamala Harris. Man, I am proud of my vote for Kamala Harris. I don't regret it 1 minute. She was the person for the job. I love the joy that she injected in this thing. And Trumpers would criticize, say, "Oh, what is joy? What is joy?" You know what? What is that jackass doing his dance, jacking off two guys? What the hell is that? You know, is Kamala not allowed to have some joy too? Why wouldn't she be joyful? You know, she's worked her entire career as a district attorney, then attorney general, then a senator, United States senator, then a vice president, and now sitting a few months away from possibly being able to be president of the United States. Why wouldn't she be joyful? She cobbled together an incredible coalition, a diverse coalition of support from Republicans to um, white people to black people to Latinos and Christians and Republicans. Blah 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 blah. Everybody came out of the woodwork, but we just didn't have enough. We didn't have enough, and that was a bummer. I believed in her. I believed in her. I don't know what's going to happen in 2028. I do think, though, that America is not ready for a woman president. This is not me saying that. This is me observing that. I'm fucking pissed. I am still pissed about it. I'm still pissed that we did not elect her. Makes me mad. And there were people who were supposed to show up that didn't show up. There's a lot of women, there's a lot of white women who voted for Trump this time around. I don't know why. They complained about the price of eggs and the border, and whatever they have coming to them, I hope they get it. And that's not a good thing. And of course, at the top of my list is President Carter, President Jimmy Carter, because he was the best of us. He was really, really an incredible human being. Um, Rest in peace. Rest in peace, sir. Last but not least, I'm going to zip through these. My favorite moments of 2024. And at the top here, I have President Biden's State of the Union address in 2024. This was the reason, folks, why a lot of us thought he was fine. A lot of us thought there was no need for him to step aside. We saw this performance, we were like, psh, if he brings that to the debate, it's over. It's a wrap. He didn't bring it, but let me just show you a little tidbit of what President Biden brought to that State of the Union.
In November, my team began serious negotiation with a bipartisan group of senators. The result was a bipartisan bill with the toughest set of border security reforms we've ever seen. Oh, you don't think so? Oh, you don't like that bill, huh? That conservatives got together and said it was a good bill? I'll be darned. That's amazing.
Oh, you don't like that bill? Oh, you don't, huh? I do love that. I do love how he came out at them. Like, he was confident, he was relaxed. Loved it. I just wish he could have brought that with him to the debate. But he didn't have, there was no gas left in the tank. Kamala Harris, my next most favorite moment of 2024 was when Kamala Harris destroyed Donald Trump in debate. This was, this was beyond, this was indisputable. She destroyed him. And from the very moment they shook hands, he tried to avoid shaking hands with her. He couldn't even make eye contact with her. She eviscerated him in ways I don't think he's ever been eviscerated before. She treated him like the criminal he is. And and she's the prosecutor that she is. And I have a quick clip to share about that from that. I love this one.
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as vice president of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump. I have talked with military leaders, some of whom worked with you, and they say you're a disgrace. And when you then talk in this way in a presidential debate and deny what over and over again are court cases you have lost because you did in fact lose that election, it leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
Yeah, that was great. That was great. She completely dismantled him. It is such a crime that she did not win despite manhandling him the way she did. Yeah. And this past, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Yours truly, for my next moment, yours truly did attend the White House holiday party, and I got to meet, among other people, Hunter Biden. And I'll say it again, you cannot tell me anything bad about this dude. He reached out to me when my dad was dying and expressed his support. He's been through some shit. He's been through some, he's been through it. And I can identify with that because I've been through it. We're both recovering addicts, and but he doesn't let that define him. He's moving forward with his life, and it's tough to have to go through recovery in under such an intense magnifying glass. And Republicans are still trying to they're still planning on coming after him, which is why I agreed that President Biden should extend a a uh, a preemptive pardon blanket pardon to Hunter. He's gone through enough already. God damn it, serious. And then the Democratic National Convention this year in Chicago, the Democratic Party did a very smart thing and invited so-called influencers like myself to the event. And I thought it was great because I was able to experience this through the eyes of like I am a regular Joe. I'm not like a press. I'm not a member of the press. I'm a member of the party. And so I got to experience the enthusiasm and the energy, the electricity that everybody in that arena was feeling, and express it to you guys and report on what I was seeing and experiencing and feeling. So, excuse me. So that was an amazing experience. I hope they ask me to go again. I will gladly go to wherever the next one is. That was fantastic. Last but not least, my book, The Bigliest Loser. Now, obviously, we did not get the end result that we were hoping for. And I put that in. I put my heart and soul into this project. In fact, at one point, I wasn't even going to publish it. It wasn't until President Biden decided to pass the torch to Kamala Harris that suddenly I was like, oh, yeah, I can finish this now. And I did. And there's so many incredibly well drawn pages in this book here, the Bigliest Loser. It's a factual book. It's everything in here. They have all the bills that President Biden all the bills that President Biden signed. Here's the court case where he was found guilty of the 34 felonies. Here is the debate where Joe Biden forgot to bring his A game. I even have here's the DNC. Here's the debate where he says they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. It's a fantastic book. I love it, and I'm really proud that I was able to complete it and publish it. Did it have the ending that I wrote? No, but it's still a fine work of art. And for those of you who have bought one and gotten them autographed by me, thank you for your support. I'm glad that I was able to give you some laughter, some moments of laughter and some satisfaction, even though it didn't come true. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We are now at 7:08. We are 5 hours away from a new year. My overall New Year's resolution is this: self-care. Self-care. It is the most important thing for me. I think it should be the most important thing for you. And what do I mean by self-care? I mean good sleeping habits, good eating habits, good exercise habits. I'm 56. I'm not getting any younger, right? And none of us are getting younger. We're all every day we're getting a day older. Also, the things that I feed myself, things that I feed my brain, right? I watch a lot of news, right? Cable news, But I'm thinking about pulling back a lot on that because what I see often right now is not making me happy. So why would you why would you subject yourself to watching stuff that makes you angry? Don't do it. Um, Self care, also social media, and in particular, Twitter. I've pulled back. I'm still on Twitter because I refuse to abdicate that arena, but I'm definitely not swimming in my replies anymore. I can't be bothered with that shit. Can't be bothered with the dozens of trolls that jump onto my replies and try to make me feel bad. I don't care for that. Blue Sky is wonderful. Blue Sky, I go to Blue Sky for the replies. I go there for the posts. I stay for the replies. Yeah. Um, Joanne Kennedy says Elon locked her out. I'm sorry to hear that. That is unfortunate. Uh, she also says to go foreign news so much better. I believe you were talking about BBC. BBC is pretty good. I think maybe that's the other one. Al Jazeera is another one. It's foreign news. Uh, Veronica Teller says 67 years is looming. Laugh a lot. I love to laugh. That's my favorite thing. Mendy Nitrous says, yes, heal thyself. Are you saying hail thyself or heal thyself? Either way is good. And also, they deactivated Twitter. Interesting. I know a lot of people are doing that too. Marie from New Jersey says Blues guy kicked out Loomer. That's hilarious. Sandra Lee says democracy now. And when I see that, all I can hear is George Costanza's father saying, Serenity now, serenity now. uh, hey, happy 50th, Mendy. Happy 50th to you, my friend. Oh, Stella Baxter says she's been listening to BBC, DW News, Germany, and 24 France. I'm going to have to look that up there. Joanne Kennedy says Al Jazeera, BBC Africa, RTE Ireland. Interesting. And Trump Reaper says she doesn't think there were any trolls. That's good to hear. Good to hear. This is a good point you're making, Veronica tells. She says maybe for a while you go back to the old lineup for your show, BDD. So I'm glad you bring that up, Veronica, because I did want to tell you guys that excuse me, that I do plan on switching things up for 2025. What I do want to get back to is interviews. I want to maybe I'm going to try to line up interviews at least a month's worth, ahead of time. And oh dang. Hang on. Okay. Doggone it. Sorry about that. I'm gonna figure out what the hell is wrong with my camera. Anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna get back to interviewing people for starters. This Friday, there will not be a story time with BDD. Next week, we resume our regular Friday schedule. If you guys are going out tonight, if you're going drinking or whatever, please be responsible. Make sure you do not drive. Call yourself an Uber. Make arrange to have a friend or a relative who's not drinking pick you up. Um, I plan to stay home with the family and bring in the new year with some sparkling peach cider. Uh, uh, yeah, yeah, that's it. My the best time I can always think of is home with family. So I look forward to seeing you guys in the new year. Um, I think we're going to do some good things this year. I'm not nervous. Oh, congratulations to you. Our recovery 20 years now. I think I'm on 21 years. I'm on 21 years now. Yeah, congratulations. That's awesome. What the hell was I saying? Yeah, we're going to do some good things. We just have to stay positive and stay organized and and stay together because we are stronger together. So thank you all so much for joining me for another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. Um, Who old acquaintance be forgot, blah, 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 blah. My friends, I love you all. Be safe. Peace.